You are 20 years old, standing on a ship at the edge of the world. Salt wind cuts your lips. Your shoes are gone. Your name is still yours, but barely. A clerk in a black coat reads from a list like he is counting sacks of flour, not people. He doesn't look up. He doesn't have to. The paper is what matters now. You stare at the strange shore, trying to understand a simple fact. You stole a ribbon and a loaf of bread in England, and now you're being sent off to Australia. And this is only the beginning. To understand how hunger became exile, we need to go back to your early childhood. You were born in a narrow street in Liverpool, where the rain smells like coal, beer, and horse dung. Your father unloads ships until his back gives out. Your mother mends shirts by candlelight until her eyes go soft and watery. At night, rats scratch behind the wall like tiny fingernails. By 8, you can thread a needle in the dark. By 10, you can tell which neighbors are eating by the smell that leaks under their doors. By 12, you learn that people do not die only from sickness. Some die from being poor for too long. Your little brother, Tom, sleeps with his knees to his chest so he can ignore hunger. You tell him stories so he falls asleep before his stomach starts crying again. Then winter comes hard. Factory wages drop. Bread prices rise. Your mother coughs blood into a rag and says it is only the cold. You know it is not only the cold. In Liverpool, cold is just the excuse. Poverty is the disease. You are 14 when the first eviction notice is posted on your door. Your mother peels it off and pretends she cannot read. You pretend to believe her. You find work carding wool, then lose it. You clean floors, then lose that too. One afternoon, you stand outside a draper's shop, watching women in clean gloves touch ribbons they do not need. Inside, one ribbon is blue as summer sky. Outside, Tom has not eaten since yesterday. You go in, you take the ribbon. You take a loaf from the back stall because if you are already stealing, what difference does one more make? You tell yourself you are not stealing. You are borrowing from the future. You make it 3 streets before a hand grabs your shoulder. You turn. A constable. He checks your apron. Ribbon, bread, no money. He does not shout. He does not need to. The crowd does that for him. Thief! Girl thief! Dirty little rat! You keep your mouth closed because crying in public is expensive and you are already broke. And because you are learning the second rule. The poor do not get explanations. The poor get examples. Your trial takes less time than boiling tea. A magistrate asks your name. You answer. He asks if you stole. You try to explain about your mother, your brother, the cough, and the rent. He taps his quill on the desk and looks bored. The shopkeeper says you are a liar. The constable says he found the goods. No one asks why a child steals bread. The judge leans forward and says the sentence like he is reading the weather. 7 years of transportation. You hear the words, but they do not fit in your head. Transportation sounds like movement, a cart, a road, maybe another town. Then you hear where. Australia. The room tilts. Tom's face flashes in your mind, open-mouthed, waiting for you to come home with bread. You never do. And the magistrate never thinks of you again. That is the third rule. A judge can erase you in 1 sentence and still sleep soundly that night. First comes the prison. Stone walls are sweating and damp. A straw that stinks of urine. Women coughing in the dark. A turnkey who smiles too much. Then comes the Hulk, an old prison ship rotting in the river, where people wait to be shipped out like damaged furniture. Sunday crowds come to stare from the quay. Some throw jokes, some throw apples, some throw nothing and just watch like you are theater. You learn a new kind of shame, the kind that has an audience. You are not a prisoner here, you are entertainment. You sleep in rows, shoulder to shoulder, with women you do not know. One stabbed her husband. One stole a shawl. One forged a note. One is 12 and keeps asking if this is temporary. No one answers her. Your transport ship enters the open sea, and you realize the ocean is a prison with no walls. The hold is always dark and wet. The air smells of salt, vomit, old rope, and fear. A matron keeps order with a stick and a voice like iron. Sailors come and go. Some are decent, some are not. You learn to sleep with one eye open and your shoes tied to your wrist. One of the sailors offers you a piece of seagull meat, only if you are willing to, you know. You learn another rule. Food is never free, not for women like you. Storms throw bodies against timber. Buckets spill. Food sours. Fever moves from hammock to hammock like a rumor. A girl from Newcastle dies in week 6. They wrap her in cloth and slide her into the sea before dawn. No sermon, no family, no name spoken. You grip the tiny boot button Tom gave you and keep it hidden in your mouth until morning, just to feel you still own one thing. Weeks become months. The sea does not care. Land appears as a green line first, then a hard fact. Australia. You expect relief. Instead, you feel something worse. Finality. At the depot, they inspect you naked like livestock. Height, teeth, scars, age, trade. Needlework, you say, because saying hungry is not a skill. A clerk writes down your details in bad spelling. Then a second official reads where you are going. New place, same cage. In Hobart, they assign you to a settler household as a domestic servant. You scrub floors, you carry water, you wash linen until your fingers crack and bleed. You iron collars so stiff they could cut skin. The mistress counts teaspoons every evening and blames you when one is missing, then finds it in her own apron pocket and says nothing. The master barely looks at you in daylight. At night, he notices you more. His oldest son corners you in the pantry once, smelling of rum and tobacco. "Don't act proud," he says. "You're a convict." You twist away. He laughs. The next morning, the mistress says you were rude at supper. "Impertinence," she tells the magistrate. You try to speak, but he speaks first. Sentence: 7 days in the cells, bread and water, then transfer to the female factory for misconduct. Just like that, your truth costs you your place, and his lie costs him nothing. That is the rule here. Men make the story. Women live inside it. The female factory is not a factory the way you imagined. It is a machine for breaking women. High walls, locked yards, babies crying in rooms that smell of damp wool and sour milk. Women picking oakum until their thumbs split. Rules are posted everywhere. Mercy is posted nowhere. First class, second class, crime class. A system inside a system. If you speak out of turn, you drop a class. If you fight, you drop a class. If a matron dislikes your face, you drop a class. You meet Nora, an Irish woman with a scar across her cheek and a laugh that sounds like broken glass. "Listen," she says, "in here, silence is bread. Anger is hunger." You hate her for saying it. Then you realize she is right. Winter cuts deeper inside those walls. Water turns to ice before dawn. Blankets never dry. And one baby goes silent forever. Months pass. Your conduct improves. A clerk tells you there may be a ticket of leave in time if your record stays clean. You repeat those words at night like a prayer. Ticket of leave. Partial freedom. Permission to work for wages in a district. Not home, but air. So you work the extra hours, keep calm and force a smile when other men touch you. Then one afternoon, a silver brooch goes missing from the matron's office. You are searched. They find nothing. Yet someone says they saw you near the door. Someone who owes the matron a favor. Someone who needs a scapegoat because their back's against the wall too. Suspicious behavior, the report says. Your ticket of leave review is postponed, then denied. You are reassigned to harsher labor. You do not cry. You have learned that tears are evidence against you. Years move, but not kindly. You are sent out again, this time to a road gang kitchen, feeding men who build roads they will never own. Dust coats your teeth. Grease coats your hands. Orders rain from every direction. You meet a former convict woman named Eliza, who runs a tiny washing service on Sundays and pays in coins, not promises. She introduces you to a network of women who watch for each other. One knows a clerk who can read records before hearings. One hides runaway girls for a night. One writes letters for women who never learned. You begin to understand something important. The colony may run on punishment, but survival runs on women. At 26, you get your ticket of leave. No parade, no apology, just a paper with your name and rules printed tight as rope. Stay in the assigned district. Report when ordered. Any breach can return you to custody. Freedom with a leash. Still, you step outside holding that paper like it's your precious. You rent a corner in a widow's house. You sew at night for settlers' wives who never ask where your accent came from. You send a letter to Liverpool with shaking hands. No reply. You send another. Months later, one answer reaches you, copied by a shipmate who knew someone who knew your street. Your mother died 2 winters ago. Tom joined a ship and vanished from port records. No fixed address. You fold the letter and tuck it beside the boot button. A man named Patrick asks if you will marry him. He is a stonemason, also exiled from England, also trying to start over with broken tools. You do not love him at first. You trust him first, which is harder. He does not ask questions when you wake screaming. He leaves water by the bed and waits outside until you can breathe again. You marry quietly. No white dress, no church bells. Just 2 signatures and a witness who cannot spell either name. You start a small mending shop together near the edge of town. Settlers call you respectable now, as if respectability is a coat you can put on and forget the scars under it. But some nights, when wind hits the shutters just right, it sounds like ship timbers in a storm, and you are back there, counting breaths in the dark. At 32, you finally receive a certificate of freedom. Another paper, another official stamp, another clerk who does not look at your face. You are free by law, but ships to England cost more than you have. And even if you found passage, who waits for you there? No mother, no brother, no room with your name on the door. The law ended your life years ago. The ocean took the rest. You stand outside your shop one hot afternoon, watching a new convict cart roll past. Inside it, girls stare out with the same look you once had. One is maybe 15. She clutches a scrap of cloth like a relic. You want to run after the cart and tell her everything. How to survive the cells, who to trust, who to avoid, how to hide thread, save crumbs, keep your name alive in your own head. But the cart turns the corner and disappears. That is how this place works. It takes girls in one end and gives back ghosts, wives, workers, mothers, sometimes landowners, sometimes nothing. Different outcomes, same beginning. Punishment, exile, distance so large it becomes identity. You are old now, older than your mother ever got to be. People in town know you as Mrs. Doyle, seamstress, widow, reliable with hems and mourning black. Few know the rest, that once, in another country, you were a hungry girl with a blue ribbon in your pocket and bread under your apron. That a judge said one sentence and erased your whole map. That you crossed half the world for a crime born from poverty. That freedom arrived on paper years after your home was already gone. It is a continent full of people who served their time but never got their lives back in the shape they left them. You are one of them. A free woman in Australia, an exile forever in England. A sentence that ended in law and never ended in the body.